Testing, testing, testing. Hey everybody, it's James, PKSW from the Permakid podcast, and I'm here to talk about the Ghostbusters Reboot trailer. It just happened about 2 hours ago, and I put my little reaction video up, and I've watched it a couple more times, and I've given it a little bit of thought. Very little thought. I'm not an overly intellectual person, so this is going to be a strange video where I analyze stuff, but I don't really quite know what I'm trying to say, so whatever. Okay, so as you saw in my reaction video, if you saw it, link is right there, that overall, I liked it. It touched me. It made me feel like I was a kid again. It was a lot like the Star Wars Episode 7 trailer. I was just blown away by it. I was just excited and ready, and that's basically how I feel. I was like, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. Having said that, I did have some problems with it. First and foremost, the beginning was just a direct pandering to people like me, original fans of the Ghostbusters, fans of the original Ghostbusters. Talking about 30 years ago, 4 scientists. Stop right there. First of all, Ernie Hudson's character, Winston Zeddemore, wasn't really a scientist. He was a working class guy. I guess, if you just become a Ghostbuster, you're just automatically categorized as a scientist. Whatever. 4 scientists saved the city, and then it shows the graffiti Ghostbusters logo. Now, we don't know if that's going to be that, kids are drawing it just to show, hey, there's no ghosts here. Maybe the team sees it and says, hey, that can be our logo. Or maybe kids see that the logo is already on their uniform, and then they show their appreciation that the Ghostbusters had been there, maybe to scare ghosts off, to show that, these Ghostbusters are going to have a lot of fans in the movie and real life. Chill out. The trailer goes on. It shows this librarian-esque ghost that's not a librarian. They're in some sort of museum, some rich person's house. It doesn't look like a library. There are a lot of books. Her clothing is very librarian-esque, but if you look, there's like a picture of the ghost lady like behind her. So it's some rich lady who died. Whatever, maybe she was bulimic because she throws up fucking Nickelodeon gack all over Aaron Gilbert, Kristen Wiig's character. Then it goes on to show that Kristen Wiig is a quantum physicist, particle, blah, blah, blah. Kate McKinnon's character is a hardcore engineer who can, make all the stuff, Egon style. Melissa McCarthy seems to be the one that gets them all together. Melissa McCarthy's character and Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig's characters, apparently in the story, they wrote a book about ghosts and paranormal activity and stuff. So probably when everything starts happening, because everybody's so afraid of ghosts and they're kind of not, they are the first people to interact with one. And because they know that engineer, they're the only people who have the tools and the talent to get it done. And that's when they introduce Patty Tolan, Leslie Jones's character. I have a couple of problems with her just because when they add the 4th member in the original Ghostbusters, Ernie Hudson's character, Winston Zeddemore, was just a working class dude. He needed a job. He wasn't a caricature of black culture, or he wasn't overly sassy. He wasn't like, yeah, I'm the black guy. He wasn't like that at all. He was just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm a Ghostbuster. Let's fuck shit up. He didn't say that, but anyway, he was a really good character. Every character was fleshed out. New York felt like New York. It wasn't overly cartoony in the original. But I will say for this trailer, and I'll say this too, in the original Ghostbusters, it looked like if you think about Ghostbusters 2 and you think about the Fratelli brothers in the courtroom scene. And just a lot of the ghosts look like you take 2 people, you take a person, you draw a caricature of them, like a tennis racket and a skateboard and whatever, and then you make a puppet about that, and then you impose it into the movie. And so the original ghosts were like caricatures of their former selves. In this movie, it feels like New York is a giant set. It doesn't feel like it's the real New York. I've never been to New York, so I really don't know what I'm talking about, but maybe you know what I'm talking about. But it just doesn't feel like the real New York. And I know a lot of scenes were shot in Chicago and blah, 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 blah. But the ghosts themselves, and obviously they're not using the same puppetry. They're using just computer graphics, and it looks good. Slimer looks fine. And there's going to be a mix of like humanoid ghosts that have like crypt keeper faces sometimes, mixed with like the vapor style, like Slimer, who's just like, what was that when he died? Like, was that a dude? Like, if some are humanoids, why is Slimer like that? And then there's that tall, like, Jack Skellington feet looking dude. So the ghosts in this are just, they're not caricatures of their former selves. They just look like cartoons. So the whole movie, the feel of it doesn't feel realistic. It doesn't feel Ghostbusters-y because the characters are all pulling guns out, licking them, being all cool. And, the Ghostbusters might have done like, hey, suck it in, guys, we're the Ghostbusters. They tried to look cool a couple times, but they never really pulled it off. And that was kind of what was fun about it, was that they were realistic and they were fleshed out. Whereas these are like, we're badasses and we're fighting. We're in a cartoon, basically. Now, having said that, I don't really have a problem with that because the movie itself could be really fun, especially for the younger generations. I was a kid when I saw Ghostbusters, and I don't think that, I think it holds up. I think if you showed the original Ghostbusters to kids today, they would still love it. But this is like an amped up version, just fully like, just colorful and just, I think... And in a way, it's almost insulting to kids today to say like that things have to be that amped up, just with like colors and look how badass these characters are and look at these cartoons. So it's a little bit insulting, and it is insulting to the original audience, but it's gonna be fun. Just chill out. Don't overthink it. It's a movie where people are like shooting at ghosts and capturing them. Speaking of which, the new ghost trap was like a bear trap. Not as easy to carry around. I'm excited to see. Maybe that was the first prototype. We'll see what that's all about. The whiteboard, Aaron Gilbert's whiteboard, showed like a website, and I've already posted that on my Facebook, but I'll post like the link here as well somewhere. And that takes to like a little mini featurette of like the making of Ghostbusters, which I thought was really cool. So watch that. Don't just watch the trailer, watch that as well. Initially, if you're watching it and you feel like you just have a problem with it, it's probably because it is so cartoony. Doesn't feel like the original Ghostbusters. It feels like a completely different movie. And we're getting mixed signals because they said this is a reboot. This is a reboot. This is a reboot. It's a remake. So we're not supposed to... This isn't a continuation. This isn't a sequel. These characters aren't the new Ghostbusters. In this universe, they are the Ghostbusters. So it was weird that we did get pandered to at the beginning when it was like 30 years ago. 4 scientists saved the world, and now a new team? No. So we're getting contradictions in the trailer. Don't tell us that 30 years ago this happened and now there's a new team. That's meta. That's like, we know that 30 years ago Ghostbusters saved the world, now there's a new team. But for the trailer itself, it doesn't feel like it's a standalone trailer. It doesn't feel like it's a standalone movie because you're giving us too many throwbacks. And you don't need to. Just make a trailer. Make a trailer for you. Look, Paul Feig, you made a movie. So make a trailer for that movie. Don't be like, hey guys, remember? Because whether the movie's good or bad, it's not going to have anything to do with the original Ghostbusters. It's a reboot. So if it's bad, we can just go back and watch Ghostbusters. And it's like, well, at least we know that it's not a sequel. And these things are the events that happen after the movies that we like. So now if we just hate Ghostbusters, the new one, we can just always have the original Ghostbusters to go back to. But if it was a full-on sequel, we'd have to see these characters all old and being like, oh. And like, I'm sorry. Ghostbusters fans, I'm sorry. But Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis's script about where they go to hell, like, it wasn't good. I saw tidbits of it. I read a little bit of it. And it just wasn't good. Bill Murray was right to say he didn't want anything to do with it. He said he was like holding off for so long. Even back when like Rick Moranis and everybody was like, yeah, let's do a Ghostbusters 3. Let's do a Ghostbusters 3. And everybody was mad at Bill Murray because he was like, no, I don't want to do it. I wasn't mad at Bill Murray because I saw that script. It was terrible. And Bill was like, I would be fine with doing Ghostbusters 3 as long as you came to me with a good script. Now, the script works for the comic books, the IDW comic books, because they go to the hell dimension and blah, 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 but nobody wants to see that in a movie. Now, I'm getting off track here. I'm just glad that it's not a sequel. It's a reboot. So whether we like it or hate it, it's a standalone movie. Now, having said that, it didn't feel like a standalone movie. It just feels like, hey, remember Ghostbusters? We made like a cartoon, live action, if that makes sense, movie version of that. I don't know. They're trying to be too badass. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Okay, having said everything that I've already said, overall, I still liked what I had seen. I was very excited until the possession scenes started happening. It shows Kevin, Chris Hemsworth, busted into the room. It shows Melissa McCarthy looking at a drain, and she gets slapped with the ectoplasm, and she's just like possessed. And I talked about this in the Permakid podcast, episode 32, I believe, where before I had even seen the trailer, I called it that this movie was going to have a lot of possessions in it. And I also talked about how I did not want Leslie Jones to be a caricature or a blaxploitation version of a black person or actress. She does it a lot in SNL, and it's fine. But for Ghostbusters, feeling like a timeless classic, you don't want to see too much of, how do I put this? Like societal tropes. Like, even if it was in the 90s, you wouldn't want to put just jokes where people were just like, talk to the hand, that's all that in a bag of chips, and blah, 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 blah. When you see movies nowadays that are based in the 90s, you see that all the time. But when you watch 90s movies, they weren't like, talk to the hand, and just like wait for people to laugh. So there's a level of surrealism to that. Anyway, the possession scene. Melissa McCarthy gets possessed. She picks up Jillian Holtzman, Kate McKinnon's character, and was about to like drop her out of the window when Leslie Jones's character, Patty Tolan, like saves her, pulls her back in, knocks Melissa McCarthy down. So she's the strong character. She might know New York and she might have the car, but she's also the strong character, physically strong character. So, and she knows New Yorkers. Like, she knows how to deal with New Yorkers. So that's probably going to come in handy. But then she said, oh, hell no. And she started slapping Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy's head spun around. That was terrible. I have a lot of problems with that. It's Ghostbusters. Have fun. Don't overanalyze it. Well, this is my overanalyzing video, so I'm going to real quick. A ghost possesses you, and your head spins around, and then it leaves your body. Your bones, your skin, your muscle tendons, you'd just be dead. If that ghost leaves her, she'd be dead. The fact that she's not has a lot of weird implications. So, like, I really like the trope of, in a lot of cartoons they do this when someone gets possessed and the heroes, no matter how powerful they are, like if Superman is having to, like, if Jimmy Olsen got possessed, Superman wouldn't really know what to do. He'd have to think for once. He couldn't just punch his way out of this. So now he's like, oh God, my best friend has been possessed. So I have to find a way to exercise whatever's possessed him and save his life without hurting him. And that's a good trope because that that allows for you to see your favorite heroes think rather than just punch their way out of situations. And like I said, these Ghostbusters have the tools, whatever. But anyway, with Melissa McCarthy being able to spin her head around, what that implies is that characters can just get possessed by ghosts, and you could just be like, oh no, he's possessed, and just shoot him right in the face, or like slam him up against the wall and beat him with a baseball bat. And then the ghost will just leave him, and he'll just be like, thanks for saving me. Oh, there's a bullet wound in my face, but it's gone now because the ghost is gone. That doesn't make any sense. And her head spinning around like that just implies that whole universe of non-physics. That I sound like an asshole right now. I shouldn't even be talking about this. Okay, the head spinning around was terrible. Then the lines, oh, hell no, blah, 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 blah. And like, she's like, the power of Patty compels you. And she's like screaming it like... And then Melissa McCarthy says, that's going to leave a mark. Best case scenario is this. They put those scenes in the trailer to stir up weird feelings and to maybe get people mad. And hopefully, best case scenario, those scenes aren't actually going to be in the movie. I do have hope because Paul Feig is like Judd Apatow in the sense that he will make a movie that's just like 2 hours and 45 minutes long. So it's not going to be like a Deadpool situation where you just get to where you see all the funny parts in the trailer, and when you go see the movie, you're confused at why people are laughing because you're like, this was in the trailer. So hopefully that's the only trailer we get. Realistically, we're going to get like 4 or 5 more, and where people are just going to be able to piece the whole movie together with the trailer because that's what people do nowadays. Preferably, this would be the only trailer. Those are the worst jokes in the movie. And the people that still accept it go see the movie, and it's just awesome. Best case scenario. That's been my analyzed view of the Ghostbusters trailer. I hope you liked it. I hope you agree with me. If you disagree with me, let's spark up a conversation. Let's talk about it. Tell me what you think. Tell me if it looks like crap to you, just fully crap, like you're not going to pay for it. Tell me if you're not going to go see it. Tell me if you're just going to wait on my review, because I told the Permakids that I would watch it 5 times before I reviewed it. I don't know if that's realistic, if I'm actually going to do that. But just let me know, because I will review it as soon as I see it, and then I'll do another review of it after I watch it a couple times. I'll overthink it, I'll underthink it, I'll do everything. But just tell me what you think. Get on the Permakids or get on my Facebook, and let's talk about this. I love Ghostbusters, and hopefully this doesn't sully James Sullivan. Hopefully this doesn't mess up what I've based my entire life on. Permakids.net